next leader. Hey guys, so as you probably know, if you've been on the internet, we had a very successful FL2K outing. We won our class, the Extreme 28s versus Race Quattro, and set a new personal best for me and the car, a 633 at 224 miles per hour.
And, well, that's where it ended. Left lane, Brett LaSala goes 633 at 224. He said, you want to see mile an hour? I'll give you 224.
So I just wanted to give you a little recap video of what was going on behind the scenes with us throughout the weekend, because it was an adventurous weekend. When we got back here on Monday, I was dead. It was like we fought a war over the weekend, but we won, so everyone's spirits were just really high. As you saw in the last video, we got the front end and intercooler stuff done like pretty much the day leading up to FL2K, so that didn't leave us a lot of testing time. The plan was to test the car here in Orlando Wednesday night and then get packed up Thursday for the weekend, and then head over to FL2K, which roll racing was going on Thursday, so we didn't really need to be there quite yet other than secure our pit spot. That didn't work as planned as it started raining here, so at 3 o'clock I loaded the car up. Austin came with me, and we went over to Bradenton just to get 1 or 2 test passes under the car, because we changed the front end weight with the wheels and the clip, and we changed the rear wing and trunk, so the weight of the car was different, the percentages were different, so it was going to react different. And testing went really good, but it showed us that the car reacted totally different. Basically shock settings changed a lot. It was topping the back shock out now with the weight off the back. We're trying to wheelie a little bit, so we had a few things just to work out with that. Other than that, the car was running good, so we knew we were in a good spot. So then we came back here Wednesday night after testing, because I wasn't loaded for the weekend yet, like a clothes packed, tools packed, and that kind of thing, and headed over Thursday. Thursday there at the track, we worked on the car most of the day, kind of fixing some things we found Wednesday night, dialing in stuff, some maintenance items that I didn't get to yet, preparing for qualification round on Friday. Friday Q1 for my class happened about middle of the day. I think it was like 1, 2 o'clock. It was the hottest time of the day. Sun was out on the track. DA wasn't good, but I know that we had a tune-up that was gonna go down that. So we loaded in the tune-up, went down, went at 656, I believe at 218. At that point, we pretty much knew that we had the car to beat that weekend. The pass that it made, the power that it was on, the settings we had in it, like that was a really, really good, really fast pass. So everyone was extremely happy. We made 2 more qualifiers that day. Again, we're still just tuning in the suspension at that point, tuning in the new intercooler. The engine was making more power with the new intercooler than it was before on the same settings, so we were kind of dialing that stuff back. Was super fortunate this weekend because Joe was able to come out to the track and tune the car there. So being remote with that takes longer and you can't really see everything that's happening. So having him there while I could work on the car was super beneficial for us to make it through and be successful throughout the weekend. So that brought us into Saturday qualifying. Saturday morning we had a run. So we loaded what we knew was going to be the fastest pass the car ever made. It went down, I think it went a 421 or 422, and then a 645. Towards the end of the run in high gear, I saw the oil pressure warning come on my dash. I saw that was 33 PSI, which should have been probably 70 at that point. So after the pass, I shut the car off. We towed it back to the pits, pulled the oil filter out, and that's when we discovered a significant amount of bearing material plugging the oil filter from the engine. Luckily, it was just Saturday morning now. It was about 10 a.m. and Joe was down at the car, Jim was there, everyone was there, and it was like, all right, well, what are we gonna do? We suspected that the crankshaft was flexing and causes the mains to touch down on the bearings. And this engine still uses the factory crank, which we've utilized all the way up until this point, because we've been testing the platform, growing the platform, and then kind of finding the limits of the parts before we upgraded, like with the cam caps and things like that. So we knew this was coming, we just didn't know when it was going to be. Earlier in the summer, we raced the car 8th mile a lot, so this could have been starting to happen. We just didn't notice it as bad because we were making shorter passes, and then the longer quarter-mile runs at that power level just kind of showed us the next spot where it was weak. Luckily, Joe had my next engine partially together at his shop in Newport Richey, Fast Forward Race Engines, because basically FL2K was going to be the last outing on the engine that was in the car. Probably had 70 to 80 passes on it. We raced all over the place with it. It was good engine, still running strong. We were building a second long block, so we would have two, because we raced the car a lot. So if a failure happens, it's nice to have a spare so you don't miss a race, or if you're traveling, you can put it in. So I'm fortunate enough to be able to have him already working on that second engine for our car, for our race program. And the short block was assembled at his shop, but it wasn't a long block yet. So we were decided there, it's like, okay, we're gonna, take the engine out, and we'll have to take the heads and on the valve train and all of that stuff, and then switch it over. We had the car up on jack stands ready to go, and I think at that point Jay was like, hey guys, like, we have all day, let's think about where we want to change the engine. Like, we're in the dirt pits, at the racetrack. So then I was thinking, like, man, okay, there's a few people local that have shops that, we could go to pull the engine out. And right away, Garrett stepped up, Cletus, and let us use his shop, which is conveniently right next door to the racetrack. And he actually pushed us over there in his push car. We went out the main gate and down the road with all the cars lined up to get in for the track into his garage. So Jay, Joe, and myself, we removed the engine, put it in the back of the truck, drove it to Fast Forward Race Engines in Newport Richey. At that point, AJ and Rob and myself and Joe started disassembling the engine to get everything cleaned up, because we knew there was bearing material through the whole engine. So the heads had to be fully disassembled, all the oil galleys, all that stuff, to get out the contaminant, so we didn't damage the new engine right away. So we worked on the engine that whole day, essentially. Assembled the engine, got it all complete, drove it back down, put it in the car. We fired the car up at 1 a.m. Saturday night, Sunday morning.
Guys, what happened to your coyote?
Well, your main seal started leaking after that last pass, and Joe was like, listen, we can't have...
So you just pulled the whole engine out, helping the competition, but he said if we get in the finals together, he'll let me have it. Just kidding.
Did some light break-in of the engine on the lift, checked it all over, make sure everything was good, because we were going to be racing the next day, basically right into eliminations. I drove the car back to the track from Cletus's shop and parked it for the night. We got back there about 2 a.m. and pretty much ready to roll into eliminations. At that point, our 6:45 pass kept us #1 qualifier, which played into the weekend perfectly, because as #1 qualifier, if there is an advantage due to car count, you get the advantage. We looked at the ladder the next morning, and as the ladder was shaped up, basically knew that we could only beat ourselves in this race. Like, the first few rounds, we just had to not make mistakes, not make bad decisions, run mid to high second, 6-second pass, we were gonna be okay. We get prepared to go up to the track for the first round, and the car we were going to race was actually broken, so he didn't make the call. So we had a broke by first round, which was a relief, because at that point we haven't run this new engine, that the car we fully disassembled, other than idling and driving it. So if something did happen, at least we knew that we couldn't lose the race. Made a fast pass. I think it went 4:30 or 4:28. I just ran it to the 8th. Everything was golden for round 2. Round 2, we raced the Honda S2000 with the 4-cylinder, which the car is capable of a high 6-second pass. I think he was trying to run like a 690 with it. So we knew that we just had to put in a safe tune-up, go down the track, and we would be okay to move on to the next round, which was the semifinals, to where we had a competition by. So we beat that car and then made it into the semis. On that pass, you guys might have seen a clip I posted on Instagram, the parachutes failed. They came out, they got tangled up in the back and then didn't deploy. So then I had to stop the car. I think it went through the traps at 195, close to 200 miles an hour with no parachutes in the dark at Bradenton. Was definitely super sketchy. Never happened before at that speed. It's happened to me before at like 170, 180 maybe with my old car. Nerve-wracking, but we got the car stopped. Luckily TBM brakes did their job. They got the car stopped and we're still functioning at that point. Got it back to the pits, you know, checked them out. Everything was good, brake fluid was good, pads were good. Sorted up the parachutes, trying to figure out why they got tangled up for the next round. But at that point, everything was going great. Car was running great. You know, now we're into the semis, which we knew we had the competition by. Cletus and Larry with the orange car, who went 630s earlier in that day, were racing each other in the semis. So we were going to race the winner of those two, which at that point could have been either, and both have very fast cars. We knew it was going to be an epic final. So we put in a tune-up to test for the finals, essentially, you know, being at a competition by. And it went a 418 at 181, like a 112 60 foot, just on rails. Like the performance of the car all weekend was just undeniable. Like anyone, I believe, that was there could watch it. It was just straight, easy, effortless passes and super fast. It was really awesome. The car's in a really good condition right now for racing. Everything on it is just working as it should. So we knew that 418 would run a low 640, high 630, which, you know, we've never ran before. And at that point, I believe Garrett's best pass was like a 650. And the orange car's best pass was like a 636. So we knew we had enough car to win as long as we put the right tune-up in it for a final, depending on who won the race. Garrett won the race, so we were up against him in the final. So we get ready for that round, basically deciding on tune-ups. I was up helping Jim in his final, you know, and we decided to put what we knew was going to beat Garrett and then a little more on top to kind of see what the car would do, because we're at a spot we haven't been before and we wanted to see what it would do. We lined up, we left. He treated me a little bit. I think it was like an 070 to an 025. Garrett's always really good on the light. So he was ahead of me at the 60. By 100 foot, I was ahead of him. And then by the 330, you know, he was out of my peripheral at that point, and then he had spun the tire. It looked like on the gear change from the video. I stayed throughout the run. I didn't know he spun the tire at that point. And the car went 633 at 224 and 416 at 181 to the eighth, which is just staggering. It still is staggering, mind-blowing to myself that it ran that quick. The car's still in sick week trim. Like it's the same condition that we raced and drove 1,000 miles on. Like if that was a sick week, we would have just changed tires and got on the road and drove to the next track.
There's Cleaner, and then let him rip. Cleaner goes 025 on the tree, and well, that's where it ended. Left lane, Brett LaSala goes 633 at 224. He said, you want to see mile an hour? I'll give you 224.
To be able to run that quick, that fast, you know, with this small engine, the whole combination is just working perfectly. So the whole crew was there. All the guys from Fast Forward, we put in all the late night effort on getting the engine ready. It just made it all worth it in that moment to win that race. Historically, I have very bad outings at FL2K. I think with my old car, I don't know that I ever even made it past round one. A few times I never made it to round one. For some reason, that racing event has always eluded me. So to conquer it this year was a great personal success for myself, being that it's one of my favorite races and a local track and home track. So to go there and perform well was a win for me also. And now next up is World Cup Finals. So in 3 weeks, we go back to Maryland. And I've got my butt kicked there the last 2 years. So this year, we're going to return the favor and kick some butt up there and then pull off another win. That's the goal. That's the plan. The car's in really good shape. I think we can go there, be consistent. We'll have to tune for the air a little bit because, you know, we haven't raced this car in that great a DA yet at its current power level. Other than that, there shouldn't be any big obstacles for us to overcome. I think we're in good shape. Do a good job there. And then just the week after that is the Mod Nationals at Bradenton, which is the Mod Motor Mustang only race Justin Young puts on every year. It's a great time. Like if you're in the Mustangs or Mod Motors, like everyone is there from the community. and we're running an 8th mile class there. So if the car's still running after Maryland, or even if it's not, we'll fix it that next week, and then be back in Bradenton to race again. So the next month is going to be action-packed, full of races. We're going to get more race footage at World Cup and Mod Nats to make videos with, and you guys can see the car. Want to thank everyone that came by the trailer this weekend to say hi, bought t-shirts, check out the car. It's really cool. I love meeting everyone, talking to everyone. And I'm sorry if you came by Saturday and I wasn't there because we were working on the car. You got to see an empty pit. And if I'm ever at a race and you guys are in the area, please come by the pit. If I'm not there, come by later, ask someone and get me. I'll stop what I'm doing so we can chat a little bit. We do have the Snot Rocket shirts. We sell them at races, but we finally have a website up that you can buy them if you want to support. It's brettlasala.com. We've been getting a lot of requests on like a combination video of what's on the car. So before we go for World Cup, we're going to make a video of basically a breakdown of the parts and companies that we work with that make this car run how it runs. So then we can see it when you follow along for World Cup, then you know exactly what's happening and everyone's caught up to speed. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.